All right, let's go ahead and start. So we are doing the story of Abraham, the faith. Excuse me, the faith and obedience for the fulfillment of God's promises. Take this away. Okay, so I can't take it away. I got to. Okay. So the call from God. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people in here know about the story of Abraham, but for the people who don't know, I kind of did a little kind of rough explanation on the story. So this is kind of my little rundown or summary of what happened. So we got the call from God. So in the Genesis chapter 12 verses 1 through 3. Says, "Now the Lord had said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." I'm listening but won't be able to respond. That's fine, Bridget. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So this is the beginning of his journey, in these first three those first three chapter or verses. But I'm sure all you guys know, but people who don't, did you know that Abram was 75 years old when he left his home to go to the land of Canaan? I mean, imagine you're in this area for so long, and then you just get a call from God to just pick up everything and leave at the age of 75 to go somewhere else. It's just amazing, and just how it's just so amazing how Abraham can do that at that age. Okay, so God's promises to Abraham. So if you're looking into your Bibles, we're still going to be in Genesis, but I'm going to have it here. So in Genesis chapter 12, verse 7, "Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, 'To your descendants I will give you this land.' And there he built an altar to the Lord who had appeared to him." So moving a little further into chapter 13 of Genesis, verses 14 through 17. "And the Lord said to Abram after Lot had separated from him, 'Lift your eyes now and look from the place where you are northward, southward, eastward, and westward. For all the land which you see I will give to you and your descendants forever. And I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you.'" That is just a huge promise that God gave to Abraham. Very, very huge. So, what were these descendants that God was talking about? So, Abraham had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. For Ishmael, he was the son of Hagar, who was Abraham's wife's maid. So how that came about in Genesis 16, verses 1 through 2, I use the amplified version for these two verses here, okay? So here in verse 1 now, is it Sari? I know her name turns into Sarah, but Abram's wife had not borne him any children. Sarai, thank you. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not yet borne any children, and she had an Egyptian maid who was named Hagar. So Sarai said to Abram, "See here, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. I am asking you to go into the bed of my maid, so that she may bear you a child. Perhaps I will obtain children by her." And Abram listened to Sarai and did as she said. So that was Abraham's first son. So then it brings us to Isaac. And Isaac was now the son of Abraham's wife, Sarah. So further into Genesis chapter 17, verse 19 reads, "But God said, 'No, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son indeed, and you shall name him Isaac,'" which I guess means laughter. "And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his descendants after him." So there, God's pretty much just telling Abraham that all of my covenant is going to go through Isaac. There. There's parts in here in Genesis that they say about Ishmael, but I know God also gives Ishmael's descendants like kind of like one of the kingsmans of the stuff too. So now we lead into the sacrifice. So I have different parts here. It was a long part, so we're going to go through it all. In Genesis chapter 22, verse 1, Now it came to pass after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, 'Abraham.' And he said, 'Here am I.' Then he said, 'Take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you.'" A little further in verse 6, "So Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and the two of them went together. But Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, 'My father?' And he said, 'Here I am, my son.' He said, 'Look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?' And Abraham said, 'My son, God will provide for himself the lamb for the burnt offering.' So the two of them went together." Continuing in verse 9, "Then they came to a place of which God had told him, and Abraham built an altar there and placed the wood in order. And he bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from the heaven and said, 'Abraham, Abraham.' So he said, 'Here I am.' And the angel said, 'Do not lay your hand on the lad or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, for me.' Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in the thickest by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for a burnt offering instead of his son." Man, I can't I can't imagine doing that. I can't imagine putting my only son and as a sacrifice. It's truly amazing the 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 faith that Abraham had. So, how is your faith and obedience with God?